right, hi guys. So today we're going to go over creating a CMA in RPR, which is Realtor Property Resource. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the website, but it's a great resource for all sorts of tools that we can use. I really like it for CMAs because we can really get like a detailed adjustment, not only for giving it to your client, but also just using it for yourself or for your own information, or even helping buyers. So not just sellers, but even helping buyers with their offers, things like that. Okay, so I thought we would, since it is like a step-by-step process, that today we would, I'm going to kind of go through it step by step. I'm going to walk through it. And then at any point, if anyone has any questions, I don't want you to hesitate to jump in and ask a question before we move on to the next step. Some of the steps, I guess, are going to be easier than others, as far as technology versus knowledge in creating the CMA. All right, so the first step, I just wanted to let you guys know. So the website, you can see here, it's narrpr.com. So it's a free account that we all have. So you would go to this website, you create a new account, you do need your NERDS number, and they will send you a confirmation email so that way you can set up your free account. All right. I would hope that you guys already know how to have your own account. So let me see. I'm going to go to my home page and show you what I see. So once I have my account, let me move this here. Okay. So the upper right-hand corner is where your profile is. So you can go to your settings, you can go to your profile. So this information is going to show up. If you're going to do a report to show up to a seller, you want this information to be accurate. So I actually need to change my logo from Prosperity to Integrity. I need to update that. But this is where your brokerage information will auto-populate in once you sign up, and then you can just tweak it from here. But you want to make sure that's correct. So that way, when you get to the last step, if you are saving it as a PDF to send to someone, then that way all your contact info is correct. Okay. So I'm going to go back home. And I am going to use a recent property that I that just closed last week. I'm going to pull it up and we're going to do that as like a sample comp, and I'll show you the steps that you go through to do the comparative analysis. All right, so from here you can go to the search bar and you can type in, you can search by MLS number, or you can type in an address. So you can see I recently searched it, but I'm going to start typing it in, 302 West Lakeshore Drive in Highland Lakes. So I'm going to choose that one. Okay. And, I just wanted to, to let you guys know what I really like about this method of using this as a CMA. I know a lot of people will go to the MLS and you're pulling up comps and you're trying to find ones that are close in square footage or close in mileage to your subject property. And what this does, the RPR, it actually does all that legwork for you. So as you pull up your comp, your subject property, and it puts in all those parameters. It puts in the square footage, and then you can search by the different parameters that you need. So it's a real time saver, and it auto populates information from the MLS. So you don't have to go back and forth. Okay, so I pulled up this, my listing here shows the information from the MLS. So I'm going to scroll down, gives a property summary. So it's saying it did just close. And the RVM is the realtor valuation. So this is what was an automated valuation that the system did based on other comps in the area. But we're going to do our own to try to make it more accurate. All right. So once you're on this homepage, you searched the property, you're going to click create a CMA here under comp analysis value. Okay, so it's going to show us property summary, how many days it's in RPR, the date it closed. So this isn't, normally that'll be blank because you're not, It wasn't a recently closed property, but it does show you that the square footage, the lot size, beds and baths, everything like that. So we're gonna do the more in-depth, more like an appraisal analysis. So we're gonna click on sales comparison analysis. It's the more detailed valuation. Okay, so when you click on it, the first time you do it, it may ask if you have an appraisal ID or something like that. You can just cancel out of that. You don't need that. It's just that part will transfer and be on your later report if you wanted to do that. So actually I went real quick. So number one, step one, confirm the home facts. So we're going to click confirm facts, and it's just going to go through, and it's taking the information from the MLS or previous listings. So if your subject property had been listed in the past, then this way, this information will be automatically populated over. So hopefully if you're doing a CMA, whether it's for a listing presentation, you've already spoken with the seller, and some of these things may have changed. If they've lived in the house for 20 years, maybe they added another bathroom, or maybe they converted their garage into a bedroom, and that's increased living space, but now they don't have a garage. So those are things that you want to confirm with the changes in the right-hand column. All right, so you're just going to confirm everything. So I know it's 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, the living area. So if you don't make a change, it'll just stay the same. Okay, and it goes through everything, total baths, living area, and then basement, square footage, things like that. You can kind of, I don't always put the basement square footage because that's not living area unless it's, it's a finished basement, and then we take into account that it's a finished basement in general. Lot size, garage, pool, things like that. So it goes over location. So you might want to put, is it on a cul-de-sac? Is it on a busy road? Little notes there to yourself, or even, but just keep in mind, if you put something here, it is going to show up on the seller's report later. So there is another area where you can put notes in, but this might be a good idea to put the location, especially if it's a unique location. So like this one, I'm going to say lakefront because it's a lakefront, and I hadn't put that in before. All right. So 10 year, like some of these things, it's some of these things aren't necessarily needed. You can fill them all in if you'd like. Okay, quality of construction. So they're using different like appraisal valuations for the different quality of construction that you don't have to play with if you're not comfortable with it. So sometimes what I will do under functional utility, I will put, if it is, if it needs, updates, or if it's brand new, newly updated, completely renovated, that's where I will put that. Heating features, you can, you're gonna heating, cooling, porch, patio, deck, any exterior feature here you would want to put, then that way that's something you're going to compare. So anything that would be that would attract a buyer, or something that would set a home, a feature that would set a home apart, like we put in a listing, you're going to put this. So like any exterior feature, deck, patio, if there's a shed, things like that, you're going to put that here. And then the rest is just pretty much self-explanatory. Let's see. So you scroll down, and I have to move my, okay. So I'm going to confirm facts and close. And again, like if you find out additional information later, you can always change it. It's not something that's going to be set in stone. Search for comps is the step 2. And this is the best part for me. So you're going to click on find comps. So there's a couple of different ways that you can find comps. You can add a known property. Like let's say, a home just sold across the street, and an appraiser is going to use that as a comp because it just sold across the street. So you're going to put that in. You can put in the address, or you can put in the MLS number, and you can add it manually, or you can search an area for several properties. So here you look down and you go under property type. So this is a single family home, but if it wasn't, I could click condo or townhouse. So this, you want it to be, accurate. Property status. Okay, so we want to click you want to see what's active, you want to see what's pending and what's closed. So when you're doing, when you're searching for comps, I feel pending and actively under contract listings are almost as important as closed listings. It gives you an idea of, the pricing, if it was priced right, if it's under contract within, 7 days of being listed, then okay, it was priced right. You don't know what it's eventually going to sell for, but you can see, especially if you're doing it for a new listing, you can see, okay, this is something that's moving. It didn't sit there, or it's also accurate. So if you've got something there that it took 3 months for it to become pending, and you see that it only started becoming pending because they did a price reduction at that point. So it's kind of good to see. You can show your seller or your buyer clients that, hey, look, it is under contract now, but look how many days it was on the market. What changed in that time that it was on the market. Okay, so enough of that. So you're going to choose, when it closed. So basically you want to choose within the last 6 months or 3 months. Ideally 3 to 6 months, depending on where you're at. That will make a difference, depending on if there's sales. So especially up by us in Sussex County, if you have a property that's located in a lake community or in a condo association, you want to find comps within that area. So a property like this in Highland Lakes, not only am I going to be looking for a lakefront comp for this, which I'm not going to do today. We're just going to do another comp in Highland Lakes. But we do want it in that neighborhood. So it's something that's going to attract the same type of buyer. So, someone who's purchasing in Highland Lakes may not want a home in Scenic Lakes, and besides the distance, it's different areas have different amenities and different things. So that's what you're building your analysis on, is what's going to attract the same type of buyer. So if you go within what's sold within the last 6 months and you don't see anything there, then you can stretch it out to a year. I wouldn't go past a year unless you really had to, but within the last 6 months is the most accurate. You can also search by you also want to do proximity. I want to do this first. So within 1 mile radius is usually, standard. That will keep it in that same neighborhood. That's going to attract the same type of buyer. But if you have to, sometimes up here in Sussex County, let's say you've got a listing or a subject home out in Wantage or something like that, where people have an acre of property, or, everything's more spread out, you can go to 2 to 5 miles. Anything more than that, wouldn't really be considered, a comparable property unless it was very, very unique. So we're gonna choose 1 mile radius, and you can also, draw a shape. So I could make a box around it, or use a custom area, but typically a 1 mile radius is good, or a 2 mile radius. So it will give you options pre-populated to search as well. So it's giving us a minimum of 2 bedrooms and 1 bath, which is fine, and a living area of 1,800 to 3,100 square feet. So they come up with these numbers based on the square footage that they pulled up from the tax data. So which is useful. So you don't have to go through and go look at the state's information on the tax records for square footage. So this saves you some time. Although I do like to refine it, usually, because I know appraisers will look at square footage. They try to stay within 15% of the subject property, plus or minus. So if you can refine that a little more, that's great. You can go up to 25%, but usually they like to look within 15% of the subject properties, numbers as far as living area and square foot. Lot size really doesn't make a difference unless, I wouldn't search with that. Okay, you can refine that later, but you can, so especially if, let's say it's a property that is 3 acres and, you really can't, you're not going to search for a property that only has 1/4 of an acre. That's not worth your time. So you're gonna search for a higher lot size. Price range, I usually leave that blank unless you know that there are a lot of comps in that area and you want to refine it a little more. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of the lot size here, and your builds that, you know, you can do you can put the numbers in there. Sometimes you can see it when you pull it up, but you can. So let's say, you know, you don't want a home that, let's say you're doing a construction that your subject property was built in 2010. Obviously you can't comp it to a home that was built in 1945, but you do want to give yourself a little wiggle room, especially if you know the area has like a diverse age of homes, because you can always come back and refine it more. So we're going to click search here. All right, so it just reminds us of our search parameters, and it's telling us that we have 4 sold properties to use as comps. Okay, so what we can do, we can click on this. So let's say for Apollo Drive, and I really want to see, you know, what this property was about. You can actually click on it and it'll bring up a new page. So you can see that all the MLS information, you can go through the photos of it. So you can really see if that would be a comparable home or not. Okay, so from here, you can scroll down, you can see other pending sales. All right, and then if you scroll down even more, then they have the actives. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna choose, you know, at least 3 properties. So like I said, I know this comp was a lakefront, but we're not going into that now. We're just doing a general search. So let's choose a couple of comps. So let's see. Does anybody have any questions so far? No? Okay. All right. So my home, if I scroll back up and look, all right, it was built in 1950. Now I know it was renovated in the early 80s completely. It's unrecognizable. So that's something you could change on that first page with the property summary, but that's still the year it was built. But I know that it's not really going to comp to a 2005 home. So that one's, you know, going to be out, right? 2000 as well. So I'm going to click some older homes, right? So the one in 1985. Okay, maybe I'll click that. And, you know, Apollo, I'll click that one too. All right, so it will show us, which is really nice. You can actually sort it by proximity or by the date it closed, by price. So proximity is really key. So you're looking at homes that are, so these are all within 1 mile. Or what I put, did I put 1 mile? Yeah, within a 1 mile radius. So if you don't see ones that are comparable in that 1 mile radius, you can go back, you can edit it, you can expand the search radius. All right, so this one I know is a lakefront listing, but this is on, you know what, I'm not even gonna get into the lakefront. This is on the main lake. There's different lakes and island lakes. So I am going to choose, I know this is close by, this is around on the other side of the lake. So these are the pending ones, the pending sales. All right, and I'm just going to click a couple of them. So we're not going to go through all of the details of them. So you're going to click them. You're going to choose the comps that you want. Again, if you don't see any that you think fit, you can expand the search parameters, come back to this page. It will save the ones that you've already chosen over here on the right. So then you're going to click update valuation and close. All right, so that was step 2. We found our comps. Step 3 is to make the adjustments. So this is the fun part. All right, so on the left, you see the subject property with all the information that we put in initially, right? Okay, and across the top, it gives us our comps. And what's nice, it'll tell you, so it has the listing record, it tells you the MLS information. So if you need to go back to the MLS, like maybe, you know, look up its listing at this point, I sometimes do that to look at photos a little more in depth. You can look here, you can make the photos bigger, scroll through, but sometimes it's still, you know, hard to see, or if you want to confirm this information, then you can pull up the MLS. But this saves you time from, you know, pulling something that may be way too big in square footage, because something that's a 3-bedroom, you know, you could have a 1,200 square foot home that's a 3-bedroom versus, you know, a 2,500 square foot home that's a 3-bedroom. So you really want to do it based on, you know, square footage, and then make the adjustments. So here we're scrolling down, we look, same number of bedrooms, which is fine. Typically, if we're going to make adjustments for square footage, we don't need to make adjustments for actual bedrooms, because that the square footage takes it into account. All right. So here, this is, so line by line, this is where we would make an adjustment. I usually start here with baths. Okay. So our subject property has 2 baths. The, sorry, I need a drink of water. Comparable property only has 1. So when we're making adjustments, we are trying to make that comparable property equal to the subject property. All right. So I'm going to make an adjustment. Okay. Adding $5,000 onto, because it has another bathroom. All right. So because the subject property has another bathroom. So this is increasing the value of the subject property, or the comparable property. I misspoke, apologize. So we scroll down here, we can make our adjustments for, you know, the living area. Now, depending on how you make your adjustments, that will give you, you know, the numbers for this. Because I know some people are new, and they're probably wondering, you know, how we know how much a bathroom is worth and things like that. So what I generally use is, there's a great market analysis guy called Jeffrey Otto, and he has CMA adjustment guides that I use as kind of like a little template, or I use, you know, when you're getting started, and it gives you valuations of all different, every different feature that you could think of. So you can make your adjustments there, and then you'll learn as you start to learn the area and things like that, you can kind of learn. So they typically say it's about $40 a square foot for the, I can't even think of the word. Hang on, I need a drink of water. For the valuation for square footage. So here's where you're going to do a little math, right? So your subject property has 2427 square footage, right? Okay. The comparable property only has 1920. So that gives you a difference of 507 square feet. So we multiply that by 40, because $40 a square foot is the valuation that we get, right? So that's a difference of $20,280. So I put that here. All right. So that's adding on to the amount that the comp property would have to make it comparable to our subject property. All right. So if I scroll over here to, let's see, we don't have any ones bigger. So let's say the square footage was, you know, larger of the comparable property, then we would be subtracting the number here to make it equal to the square footage of our subject property. All right. And that goes for anything that we're putting in. So you can see here that the lot size is pretty similar. And when you're going for adjustments, I'm not going to go super in depth with it, but they do have adjustments for lot size, things like that. So you would make all of your adjustments here. And as we scroll down, garage, this one is no. Let's say this one did have a garage, I saw in the picture. So the garage never fills in from the MLS. So that's something I got to check. So I scroll back up, I look and see if there's a garage. It doesn't look like there's one, but that's something I always check. If everything else looks good on this comp, then I'll pull up the MLS. I'll look and see if it has a garage. And is it a 1-car garage? Is it a 2-car garage? That way you can make the accurate adjustments. Okay. And then scrolling down, where were we? Garage, pool. So you just go down here. You know, you can put your notes in, you know, like this is not lakefront. And we would make an adjustment for that. So typically, I would not choose a non-lakefront property, but I just wanted to pull up a recent sale so that way I wasn't looking at anybody's stuff. Okay, so again, you're going to go through all of these. You're going to make your adjustments here, put your notes in. All right, so everything from finished basement to fireplaces, all of that you can make an adjustment for. All right, because that is something that a buyer is going to look at. So down here, because I made some of these adjustments, I'm not going to go through all of them. It says, you know, the adjustments that I made, it increased, right, the price by 9.26%. Okay, so it added that to its sale price, to the closed price that it was. So this has the adjustment of $25,000. Okay, so that's how much it was adjusted. And it's also giving us down here at the bottom, you can weight the comps as well. So I'm not going to go through all of these, but you can go through here. You go through 1, 2, 3, and then you can hit the next page. So you want to try and have at least 3 sold, you know, 3, you know, active or pending. And up here on the top right, you can toggle back and forth between those. Okay. And so let's say right now we do have 4 comps, but if we had more, or if, you know, one comp was a real outlier, like maybe, you know, you almost didn't want to use it, but you had to because it was right across the street, you can weight it a little less than you would another, one of the other comps that may be almost exactly similar. So you can change the weighting here. You can have the program auto weight it based on, you know, the adjustments that you've made, or you can put in and manually weight the comps. Okay, so it's going to give you results based on the adjustments that you made. We only made a few adjustments, so then we would click, you know, update valuation and close. So you're going to do that for each one of your comps. So we made our adjustments. That's step 3. Okay, review the analysis. Let's see. So right here, so this is what it gives you based on what the adjustments that you just made. Okay, so you can make, oh, sorry, right here. You can make adjustments to this as well. So if your gut is telling you, you know, it's giving you the range of 298 to 485, and you want to narrow that down a little bit, you would just enter the estimate range here and put in your estimate of the subject property's value here. Okay, so this information is going to come up on your final report to the seller. So if you don't like that number that came up because you want to refine it a little more, then you would enter that here. Okay, but we're going to save that original one. Okay, so those are all the adjustments that we make. And the last step is to create the report. Okay, so here on the left, you can choose what type of report you'd like. Just a report on the property, a seller's report, just a property flyer, evaluation workbook. So there you can actually look at samples and you can choose what you want on here. So there's a lot of information. So what you can do, you can hover over the information button here and it'll tell you what it is. Okay. So what I like to do, especially if it's if I have a subject property, that I know I'm going for a listing presentation for, sometimes I'll ride by the house maybe and snap a quick photo outside. So I've got a photo for the front page of this report. So some of these I don't put in, and you don't have to. So it'll give you the listing price, the estimated values, the home facts. All right. Refine that. So there's so much stuff in here that you don't have to do. So if you want to add it, you can. Market conditions, property photos. These are photos that you can upload, or these are ones from the MLS that it'll pull. Historical photos, these are for old listings. So sometimes I don't include those unless I want to maybe compare how their old photography was versus how photography that I'm going to do is.
Claro. 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 Okay.
And so there's so much you can do. So what I would do, I like to do the, let's see, evaluation workbook. It's a little cleaner. But as you can see from the last one I did, I unchecked like a lot of this stuff. It's like homeowner facts. The homeowner knows who they are and how long they've been there. So you don't necessarily have to include that if you don't want to. You can also include, like, show you like an aerial map or a bird's eye view map. Sometimes, you know, I feel that those can be a little superfluous, but you go through, choose what you want. You can name it. You can choose to include the notes that you wrote at the bottom. You can choose to include the estimated value for the subject property, or that's something maybe you want to tell them verbally, not have it written down in the report itself. So you can choose what shows. You can choose if you want to show anything else. You can personalize it. You could add your little notes, and you can run the report, and then it'll just pull it up as a PDF. Before you do that, though, this is where your customization comes into place too. Make sure your profile information is correct. So this is going to be the front page of your report. It's on the right hand side. So you want to make sure your picture is right. If you have a photo of the property, that's even better. All of your local, your license information, stuff like that. And you can edit it from here as well. All right, so what I could do here, I'll show you. Let's see, I'll run the report. Now it does take a few minutes to run. Does anybody have any questions so far? Let's see, there's some things in the
Yeah, I
chat.
do, Mariah. How you doing?
Hi.
Fred. So I'm assuming that this would work well if you're also looking at going after a for sale by owner.
Yes, yep, for
You know,
sure.
I could see it being used in that instance as well, showing the people actual comparisons based on, because most of the for sale by owners we know probably aren't priced properly to begin with. So
right, and this can really give them a breakdown of where they should be priced exactly and why. You know, because sometimes they don't understand. You know, the house down the street sold for, you know, $100,000 more than you're saying I should sell mine for. Like, well, they've got, you know, 3 more bathrooms, and each bathroom is worth, you know, X amount of dollars, or maybe updated. So this, you can really break it down and show them. So once they see this, I feel like they are really, you know, okay with the pricing because it's there in black and white. You know, in this market, you know, pricing, you know, things don't always sell for what your, you know, the comp value is, but at least you know that if an appraiser were to come and walk in the door, that, you know, you're comfortable with the appraisal amount because you did the work, you did the homework. You know, there's no butterflies in your stomach, you know, that, you know, is it going to appraise? And that it does help with buyers as well. You know, when they're submitting their offer, they're like, is it too high? Is it too, you know, and say, look, you know, it's at least worth this amount. You know, anything above and beyond that, it's how much you want this property. But I can tell you that, you know, this is what it's worth based on the numbers. And then again, in this market, things are selling for more, but then they know that, okay, you know, they see the value.
Yeah, I find this much more valuable than someone pulling information off of Zillow.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
You know,
and even just more valuable, I feel, than just pulling it off the MLS, because you really don't know, you know, the square footage, you don't know. And if you do look up the square footage, it takes a lot of time. You know, you pull up the comps from MLS and you're researching each square footage, you know, that takes time. This one, it pulls it up for you. So boom, you've got it right there.
That.
Yeah.
I see that. That's excellent. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Okay.
Hey, Mariah, just one quick question.
Yeah.
Can you tell me who the author was that you're using for the adjusted guide?
Yes, it's Jeffrey Ochoa. Let's see. Can I hang on? Let's see. I'm gonna write it in the chat.
Great, thank you.
And I could share. I have one from 2020. 2020, 2019. It was probably 2019, just before COVID was the last one I went to. And so he updates them, you know, every I guess twice a year. He has a fall and a spring meeting, or, you know, webinars, or you can actually go. They're really good. I mean, you really learn a lot about valuing a property, and even speaking to a seller based on, you know, like days on market. And, you know, it's really very, very helpful, very insightful. If you ever get a chance to see him speak, it's great. And I can share it. So I don't know if Christina is still on, but if you would like to, maybe if anybody wants a copy of the latest valuation that I have from him, just let me know. If you could type your name in and I can email it to you, or if you want to type your email address and I can send you the most updated one
Great, I
that I
appreciate
have.
that. Thank you.
Yeah. And so I see Vito is asking, the price is $5,000 for an additional bathroom. Yeah. So those are standard for, let's say, a home that's worth $250,000. So it goes up from there. So a $400,000 home or $1 million home, those adjustments would be different, you know, based on, you know, the area, and you'll know, you know, what market segment it should be in, but they are. So he breaks it down. So you can look, it's a really great chart. So you can see what a bathroom is worth in a $250,000 home, and then you can see what a bathroom is worth in $1 million home. So you can make your adjustments there, and anywhere in between. Okay, let's see. Let me just take some of these down here. Actually, let me do this. Okay, that's good. Okay. And anything else? I think if that's it, I think we're good. I'm glad. Thank you guys for logging on today. It was my first Zoom, so it's a
It was excellent.
Thank you for bearing with me, and
Woo.
I hope you guys learned a little bit.
Yeah, it was
All right,
excellent,
thanks.
Mariah. Thank you. Did a great job.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Mariah. That was awesome.
All right,
Agreed.
thanks.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
guys.
Hey,
Thank
Mariah, just
you.
one quick question before you
Yeah.
go.
Mhm.
The class that Jeffrey teaches, is it local, like around the area, the Wayne
Yeah,
area?
he goes across the country. So if you go onto his website, which I could send you a link to as well,
Perfect.
you can join to be notified of other, you know, of his events that come by. So he'll do one. The last one I went to was like in Morristown.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I mean, it does cost, you know, maybe $100 or so, but the information is invaluable.
Sounds so worth it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
And,
sign
you know,
up quick if you see it, because they book up fast.
yeah,
Great.
They do. Yeah.
yeah,
They're great.
really
They're
do.
great. I've been to a couple of them, Mariah. Maybe I saw you at one of them before,
Yeah,
prior to
yeah.
COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
they're
right, let me just
awesome.
make sure. They really are. They really are. All right. Well, thank you again, guys. And
Thank
I am
you.
just making sure I got everybody's information. All right. Take care, guys. I'll see you later.